Some stories just make me wonder, is this the world's worst criminal? There are two words that law enforcement never wants to hear over their comms. Officer down. February 4th, 2021, Deming, New Mexico. New Mexico State Police officers Leonel Palomares and Alfonso Montez have been given the task of assisting Homeland Security investigations in the surveillance and apprehension of a career criminal, Omar Cueva, also called Omar Cueva Felix. Acting on information from HSI agents, both NMSP officers had been waiting in their Chevrolet Tahoes for Cueva's white pickup truck to pass. The repeat offender was known to carry weapons in his vehicles, so they were expecting trouble. They were also expecting backup from HSI, the Donna Ana County Sheriff's Department, and Las Cruces Police. 39-year-old Omar Cueva's arrest record went as far back as the year 2000, starting with arrests for burglary in Southern California. In 2010, he was arrested for the distribution of crystal meth after a high-speed chase. He was sentenced to 10 years, but was back in business in New Mexico all too soon. Also, on Interstate 10 that day on traffic duty was New Mexico State Police Officer Darian Jarrett. He wasn't aware of the all-out manhunt. He was simply out there hunting for speeders. Soon, he noticed a white pickup truck that had its windows tinted too darkly. Officer Jarrett pulled onto the interstate and followed in his Ford Explorer Police Interceptor, catching up to the vehicle and driving alongside, close enough to verify how dark that tint was. After confirming his suspicion, Jarrett pulled behind the white Chevrolet pickup and kicked on the lights and the siren. The vehicle pulled over. Jarrett parked and got out of his patrol unit, his body cam rolling. He approached the pickup from the passenger side, away from traffic, and initiated a conversation with the driver asking for his license and registration. The driver was Omar Cueva, who was on his cell phone at the time. Jarrett asked him to exit the truck. Cueva stalled. Their conversation traveled in a tight circle until again Jarrett asked directly that Cueva exit the truck. Cueva finally agrees and ends the phone call with his wife. He opened his door and began to step out when Jarrett stopped him. The officer spotted a pistol in Cueva's waistband. Without panic in his voice, Jarrett politely manages to ask, "Do you mind if I take that off you for my own safety?" The answer is unclear, but from the body cam recording, it seems that Cueva counteroffered with a gesture of leaving the pistol on the seat before exiting. But what Officer Jarrett can't see is that Cueva has just grasped an AR-15 from inside the truck. What followed is what officers and their families have nightmares about. Cueva quickly cycled the action on his modified AR-15 and raised it over the truck's bed. 2 blasts from the rifle take Officer Jarrett to the ground. Rounding to the back of the truck, Cueva mercilessly squeezed off more rounds. 9 shots in total. Cueva ran back to his truck, and as cars passed just feet from him, he sped off. The dash cam shows the truck leaving, and the dispatcher can be heard saying, "1251, status check." There would be no reply. Jarrett is 1251, and his life has been brutally taken. Sadly, also captured on Jarrett's dash cam just some 45 seconds after Cueva left the scene, 2 HSI agents run up to the fallen officer, and they attempt to render aid. 1251 status check, the dispatcher tries again, her growing concern evident in her tone. One of the HSI agents picks up Jarrett's microphone. "This is HSI unit. You have an officer down." At this point, the 2 NMSP officers that had been lying in wait for Cueva's truck mobilized, heading west to intercept Cueva as he fled. Officer Palomares pushed his Tahoe as fast as he could considering the traffic, Officer Montez following right behind him. With their lights and sirens going, they gathered information from dispatch and spoke to each other over their cell phones. While Montez recommended getting other officers in place to set up spike strips, Palomares disagreed. "We got to stop him. We can't let him hurt somebody else." Then, Palomares sees it. Flying past him the other way is a white Chevrolet truck. Precious seconds passed as the 2 state policemen pushed their Tahoes through the sandy median to change direction. Soon, They were both going over 120 miles per hour, and they caught up to him. But Cueva was ready, and he opened fire with his AR-15. Rounds struck the police SUVs. With their pursuit of him relentless, Cueva hard braked to a stop just before an underpass. His driver's side window opened, and he fired off more rounds at the officers. Palomares quickly exited his Tahoe and ran behind it, pulling his own AR-15 and returning fire. Montez parked his SUV just behind Palomares and fired his AR-15 from the cover of his driver's door. Now, under fire by two equally armed NMSP officers, Cueva let a final volley fly and then took off again. Palomares and Montez followed suit. More NMSP resources joined the chase, with Officer Cynthia Perea taking the lead in a Ford Explorer Interceptor and soon taking fire from the fleeing truck. Up ahead, Officer Ramos readied a spike strip under the Exit 135 bridge and took cover behind a pillar. Seeing the white pickup approaching, he pulled the rope to deploy the spike strips just as Cueva passed, and he heard a pop. Further ahead were more Donna Ana County Sheriff's deputies. Sergeant Signore could see that Cueva's truck was coming, and he drew his pistol, firing at Cueva as he drove past. Adrian de la Garza was in a Camaro police unit and now leading the pursuit, but he was also taking fire. He radioed that he would try a pit maneuver, but he had a tire out. He also said that Cueva was slumped over. He may have been hit, but de la Garza just wasn't sure. As he approached the shot-up Chevrolet from the left, Cueva swerved against him. De la Garza juked to the right and accelerated until he was on the right rear corner of the pickup. He drove that pursuit Camaro into the rear of the truck and sent it fishtailing to the side of the road. Both vehicles were quickly coming to a halt, but Cueva wasn't finished. The driver's door flung open, and before de la Garza could put his car in park and get out, Cueva was targeting him. The two exchanged fire, and de la Garza exited the car, soon being struck by a bullet in the right arm. He fell back, but he didn't stop moving, dragging himself behind the Camaro for cover, where he tried to regain his footing. Cueva pressed towards him in an attempt to finish the job, but thankfully, gunfire from a sheriff's deputy caught his attention. That gave de la Garza a window. Even though he was wounded, de la Garza gave chase towards Cueva as he made his way back to the truck. De la Garza fired, and soon Cueva was laying on the interstate's gray pavement. Officers surrounded the truck and Cueva's body, cuffing him just in case he had the ability to move. It was soon discovered that he was dead. It was all over. In the moments afterward, as the adrenaline ebbed away, the reality of the situation started settling in. NMSP officer Darian Jarrett was dead. In the aftermath, there were numerous investigations into the tragic killing. NMSP Chief Troy Weisler said, "Omar Cueva killed Officer Jarrett in cold blood, and unfortunately we cannot change that. However, it is imperative we learn from this tragic event as we strive to provide the highest level of service to the people of New Mexico." Some people wonder if the justice system was just too easy on Omar Cueva early on. This was a career criminal, a drug trafficker, and someone that clearly didn't hesitate to murder in cold blood. He had seen a courtroom before. He had seen a jail cell before, but those experiences wouldn't stop him from living his life of crime, and they wouldn't stop him from taking the life of someone brave enough to protect and serve the citizens of his community. Darian Jarrett is the first officer in New Mexico State Police Department to die in the line of duty in over 30 years. He left behind 3 children and a wife that was pregnant with his 4th child when he was senselessly killed.